It's time for your daily sports dump.
Yay!
And I'm your host, Joe Canale.
Boo.
All
Was that
right.
a good boo?
I think it was a good boo. If you're going to do just one, like, low boo,
Boo. Is that a better boo? Because I kind of went boo.
any boo is a good boo, in my opinion.
I would rather have a boo than silence.
Yes. Yes. Well, and Reggie Jackson said, they don't boo nobodies.
That's true. They don't boo nobody.
There you go. So that's it.
That's a great quote.
And this is David Pompeii, ladies and gentlemen. Pompeii.
Yes. At least I was
Dave
David
Pompeii.
Pompeii this morning. I'm not quite sure.
Yes. He's not called Pompeii because he's always about to erupt, but I'm sure someone's made that comment on you before.
Dude, I always thought I would put out a comedy album called Pompeii Erupts.
Yes.
It was so hokey, so cheesy. It just...
No way, dude. Still in there. Still in there. Now, sports is in a weird scenario, and the world's in a weird scenario. And when I talked to you a couple days ago, being we're going to get into sports, and this makes sense. Every Black person, every African-American person I know has probably been inundated with their white friends being white guilty is ultimately what it is. Being overly, concern is great and everything, and you can speak to this more than I get the impression on Twitter that many, at least in the comedy community that I know, many African Americans are like, listen, make your donations, put your stuff out. Stop asking me questions about that thing you said to me in that rehearsal that one time.
Yes, but I haven't had a whole lot of that, but I know what you're getting at.
Yeah.
And around the time, I think of Dave Chappelle's big comedy special, when he was talking about, I can't remember exactly, but one of our friends was mentioned indirectly.
Okay.
And I was getting calls then from people like, hey, Pom, remember back in the day, did I ever say anything or do? And I'm telling, no, because you know me, right. I would have said something.
Well, that's the thing. I've never, there's one example of a young cast member who was African-American and maybe didn't have the, I attributed that more to youth first show, but I've never met an African-American who didn't correct me when I needed to be. And I have no problem with that because I grew up in Nebraska and upstate New York. Okay. So I didn't see Black people for a long time except on TV. And I spent the last week trying to prove racism existed on a Nebraska message board.
You're joking. You were on a message board trying to prove racism exists.
Essentially.
So they're denying the existence of racism. But Joe, I am not surprised. There are people you can find to this day, in this day and age, who believe the earth is flat.
I know.
So
that's become the NBA.
Yes. So that's become my catchphrase when somebody's saying something that's just totally ludicrous that I'm just not even going to engage in an argument. I just go, flat earth. Yes. Flat earth, everybody, flat earth, and I leave.
And that's also a good way to dismiss a Duke education because Kyrie Irving went to Duke and they didn't teach him that the earth was round there in the 1 year.
Well, he probably didn't have to go to class.
I'm guessing he didn't.
He's got an honorary degree.
Well, and there's something about with I think basketball players, when they're one and done, they really just have to attend that first semester. And then once the tourney starts, they can stop going to classes if they're going to go pro.
Mm-hmm.
And then
it doesn't matter.
Right. If you know it's 1 year, which, those are a bunch of conversations we could get into. But what I wanted to talk to you about is how, in the same way that I was mentioning that people are having their DMs flooded, sports media does not know what to do. They don't have any sports to throw up in our face to kind of move along from this. And so they're like I was thinking of stuff that they're trying so hard to find things to get us away from this. Like there was a fucking 2021 mock draft update NFL on CBS Sportsline yesterday. 2021. They haven't played the season.
2021 mock draft.
Yes.
I guess you can only talk about Last Dance for so long.
And that's
right?
it. Thank God for Last Dance. But again, Last Dance was only here for the pandemic. Now even Michael Jordan has jumped in, and so it's serious when Jordan throws his money in. But sports is like they're throwing up the Maguire-Sosa documentary now. They're like, please,
that's up now.
Please look at something. Please look at something.
I know. And
we have no games.
They've got to sell us on this NBA playoff because there's nothing else to talk about. So they've got to sell us on it. There's auto racing without fans, which the cars are so loud. And I'm not looking at the fans anyway. I do love the cars. I love F1. I'm not a big NASCAR fan.
Right. Formula One is more interesting because they're taking the turns.
I love F1 and I love Grand Prix. They're going through the city.
Much more interesting racing. Not
much more interesting race.
The whole time.
I will tune in on NASCAR just to see what team is winning because I'm interested in the teams and clean air and dirty air and all of that stuff. And I'll wait until the end to see, is it the Penske team, is Andretti team, this and that and the other. But F1 I'll watch.
Yeah.
The NBA, buddy, I think it's a wash. First of all, I think you lose something because part of what is the NBA is an 82-game season. Part of it is the grind. Part of it is the endurance of your team. And not only that, your training staff, what they focus on throughout the year
is to get you up to that point.
Exactly. Your stamina, your strength, your explosion, your speed, your shooting, your passing, your defensive play. What are we focusing on? Because you can't focus on everything.
Right.
You have to choose. You have to set up your plan. And then when you get to the playoffs, either you're set up. If your team is running out of gas in the fourth quarter, you messed up in training somewhere.
Right.
All that is gone now. Because
everything with Kawhi last year sitting out, they did that with the finals in mind, and it worked out.
Yes.
They sat him through the year.
But now they've had more time off than a regular break from between seasons.
Yeah.
So anybody that was injured is better now. Any team, they've all had their rest.
It's not a reflection of the season that ended.
It's not a reflection of the season. So, and then people go, well, they say that's offset by them being rusty. I don't think so, because every team's going to be rusty.
Well, it makes it, yes. And like the whole, the only reward of playing that season out of that length is your seeding in the playoffs. And now that's really gone because home court advantage doesn't matter. You're playing all 7 games in front of no fans in Orlando.
Exactly.
So the reward of the 82 game or whatever it was, 68 game season isn't even really felt because you don't get the benefit of that. Now, you can make the point that it's not necessarily a legitimate reflection of the champion. What I think it might be, since we didn't get March Madness this year, is it's going to kind of fit like any team could win it, I think. Because let's say the Greek Freak gets COVID. That team's gone.
They're gone.
That the number 1 seed is not going to win. No. So you have that. You also have what you're saying is everybody's rusty. So who the hell knows? Right. Like if LeBron is just rusty and has a bad game, or it will take a few games, but it's kind of like the season when the Knicks made it to the finals against that was a strike season.
The Rockets?
No, not that was the one with Ewing. They deserved that one. They were the 8th seed with Marcus Camby as their center. Ewing got hurt, and they played Tim Duncan Spurs. It was 99, and I think it was a strike season. And so it's the same thing where it's like the Knicks were the 8th seed. And I think like Larry Johnson and Latrell had a good, playoff run. You might see something like that this year, which would be interesting, but it doesn't necessarily, it's like you're a tournament winner, not a season champion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's going to feel like that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad, but what are you going to do? And if you don't do it, I feel you've got to do something, right? If you don't do anything, then it's just what?
Gone.
You put a blank line there. There's just no champion. And then what do? Do they do the I can't remember who won last year. Do the Raptors just keep the trophy for another year?
Right, for an extra year.
Or do you give it back to the commissioner for a year?
Well, that's what's hard, because same with hockey, which also played a decent amount of their season, and they're going to start up again with their playoff thing soon. I will say there's going to be a lot of sports. In about a month and a half, all the European leagues of soccer are trying to wrap up. Basketball and hockey. Baseball, they better watch it. If they don't get their shit together and start.
Wait, before we go to baseball, there's one other quick thing I want to point out about the thing the NBA is trying to do, which is the setup is very strange. And when you say if Giannis gets COVID, the way they've got it set up, he wouldn't even have to get it. All he would have to do was be exposed and have to quarantine. Then he can't come back. So now check and there's the likelihood of that is kind of high unless you keep everybody in a bubble, because they're going to be out there hustling. They're going to be playing. They're going to be breathing on each other. They're going to be sweating on each other.
Yeah.
Then it says afterwards you're supposed to social distance.
Yeah.
What? What's
the use of social distancing when you just sweat all over everybody?
If it's me and you and we're elbowing each other and we're fighting on the block, and then I see you in a restaurant, you have to sit way over there.
Yeah.
You're
right. If you post somebody up, you should be able to stay next to them at all times.
Doesn't make sense. And then there's the security that's going to have to be there. Are they going to be sequestered for the rest of the playoffs? Or are you going to be moving people in and out? What about the cooks? What about the people who have to clean the rooms? The players aren't going to clean their own rooms. They're going to have hotel staff. So are you going to sequester everybody? Or do those people go home at night?
And you're bringing this up.
Bad could happen.
Of course. And these are people. We have, I don't need to look for reasons to think I'm great, but we're improvisers, and we have an ability to think on our feet and to adjust to stuff. Most people really in the world don't operate that way, and we are in one of the most improvisational situations that you could have. And people are improvising, but I don't know if they're doing it with the right way. They're just kind of like, yeah, let's go this way. And until they hit a wall, and then it's like, oh, let's turn around over here. So we'll see.
It's knee-jerk reaction.
You're right, because I'm hopeful that we have a shit ton of sports in a month. But the possibility exists that boom, 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 oh, now the NHL season is canceled. Oh, now there's 2 teams left in the NBA who haven't been exposed. We'll throw them into a series and,
Yes,
it could be a total
champion.
Yeah, it could be a trash fire.
Mess. Exactly. It could be a total mess. So, but I'm going to watch.
Well,
I'm going to watch.
One thing messes have proven is that they're watchable.
They're watchable. Yeah, and we're either going to see a slow motion train wreck, and then it could be really interesting. Like I started watching Big Three. I thought it was kind of hokey and gimmicky.
The Big Three.
Ice Cube's Big Three League. I started watching. I liked it. It was kind of gimmicky.
Oh, sure.
But I ended up actually following certain more players more so than
Jason
teams.
Williams, the White Chocolate play? Jason Williams, the guy who he went to Florida.
I don't remember.
Okay. He's like a real flashy ball handler.
I don't even remember who was MVP. I don't even remember the name of the team that won.
I
do remember the wonderful byplay on the sidelines, and I do remember the 4-point shot. You had to stand in the circle.
Oh, that's a nice idea.
Yeah, you stand in. It's a circle that's maybe 3 feet across or whatever, 3 feet in diameter, and you have to stand in it. Or no, you don't actually have to be in it. One of your feet has to be on it. Something like that.
Because you're still like 35 feet away.
Something like that. It's just outside the 3-point line.
Yeah.
Like Steph Curry would do it all day long.
Well, that's the thing with these Big Three leagues. I would love to see a league like that where they then put an all-star team playing something like that.
That'd be
You know what I mean? Because it's interesting and fun seeing guys who are ex-NBA, college guys, great, better than us by any stretch. But you give Steph Curry that 4-point thing, he may get 40 points on that.
Just
shooting that, because the guy may not get up to him until the 3rd or 4th one he makes. So I like ideas like that where you see like football players just doing a 7-on-7 thing without linemen. That's a way they play kind of as practice thing.
As a practice squad.
Yeah, seeing how the real pros do stuff like that would be really interesting to me. Remember when they had Battle the not network? Was it Network Stars?
It would come on Sunday, and they would have these athletic events for athletes
sometimes they were
to
real
participate
athletes.
in.
Yes, I like
Sometimes
stuff
they'd
like
be
that.
celebrities. I would watch it.
Yes.
I would watch it. It would be fun, and you get to see your favorite player or players you know and like doing these other things.
It's like they're coming back to it a little bit. Steph Curry has a golf show that he does.
I tried to watch
it's a mini
golf
show, right?
Yeah,
I want to see the guys competing in stuff that you'd be like, oh, who can throw this thing further?
I like to watch I like to play mini golf, but watching it, I just, no.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. There's a pretty decent list of sports I'm going to play before I'm going to watch. And that's high up on the list. The only reason to watch regular golf is a Sunday nap. Because those voices are they're like Bob Ross. They're just
a
smooth.
Sandwich, a beer, and a nap. That's hilarious.
He's approaching the green. Relax, everyone. You've got another 4 minutes before another shot.
And he's approaching this hole.
Yeah, it's just so. What's the last thing I got? Now, McGuire Sosa, we were all there for that. Skip, I mentioned that. The Knicks are awful. It's just regular stuff too. The Knicks can't get anything right, man. They keep putting out like other apologies or like these statements, and they're so misguided. And I just want to say, maybe I've said this before on the show, James Dolan is one of the most not self-aware people in the world. You know, the owner of the Knicks. He's in a blues band, the Straight Shot or something. Like, not only is he absolutely appropriating black culture in a blues band, which is just this fat white guy hitting his guitar, but then I guess I'm just lamenting how bad the Knicks are on every level. It's gone beyond basketball, which they were horrible at forever, into just bad humanity and like just bad at everything.
Every Knicks fan I know, you included, it's just, buddy, I feel for you as a Viking fan. But at least the Vikings try. They'll make the playoffs. And the Knicks have been so bad for so long. In New York City, which, like,
with a team that is worth $2.5 billion or $4 billion, something crazy.
Right. And if the Knicks were good, they would be one of the nation's top teams around the country if the Knicks were good. It's just they've been so bad for so long. It feels like a strategy.
Yes. It would be hard to accidentally be this bad for this long.
Right. Like, so what? I can't imagine what they would be doing. They must be still making money. It was like the Cubs. They would get 2 million fans a year, but they would have one guy who's a star.
Yes.
They would push him. They would market that person.
And then when that person,
he would want a new contract, and they get rid of him because we're not paying that money out. We get 2 million fans a year, and we don't have to win.
Exactly.
So they had a culture of losing, and it didn't matter because of the profit margin.
Yep.
Is something like that happening with the Knicks?
Well, yeah, because the Knicks, those lower bowl tickets, like the Lakers seats, there's enough rich people who just want those seats. They don't care if the Knicks are good. They don't care if the Knicks are bad. They want the seats. So if the Knicks are good, they can go. If the Knicks are bad, they'll send their assistant or whatever.
Yeah, the tickets are still,
and they still, you know, and the Knicks, like the Cubs had that big WGN deal. The Knicks have a big MSG network, so the money they have coming in off TV, they can lose every game and still make their money.
There you are.
You know, and Dolan's rich beyond, he owns like whatever, some of those cable companies or shit. So like but that's what I mean. Like, if you're rich beyond recognition, get it right.
But there's no incentive to win. If I'm making this kind of money and I don't have to pay out these huge contracts. I know you've played sports games where you have to run the front office as well. Yeah. And what you do with your money, and then you look at your profit margin at the end of the season, and you know that these guys cost money. And if you want a profit margin that looks like this, you've got to find a way to win without paying people.
Well, that's the difference between real life and doing like the GM thing on an NBA 2K thing where you're like, I'll take a $1 million margin if I win the title every year. Dolan's like, nah, I don't need the
No,
title. I need the
because
billion.
you're not playing the game to try to make virtual money.
No.
You're playing the game because
Right.
you want to win a championship on your PlayStation.
Yeah.
But in real life, it's money. It's real money.
Yeah,
Would
I guess.
you take that kind of a financial hit to win? But think about it. If you own a sports team, there are some people out there that want to win. There are other people that just want to make money.
Yeah.
It ain't about winning.
Well,
It's
they
about
all
profit.
want to win.
Suppose.
But what are they going to do to get to that?
Exactly.
You know, yeah.
If we can put together a good team that'll win, and it doesn't have to cost me, say, 1970s New York Yankees money, then I'll do it.
Yeah, but he's not going to do it otherwise.
No. And that's what's really sad. We as basketball fans get cheated.
Yeah.
The Knicks haven't been good in so long. When the Knicks were good, there were so many good teams in the East back then. It was must-see television if you were a basketball fan.
It was. Well, to be fair, I was talking to Brad Morris about this. The Bulls are giving the Knicks a run for shitty management right now.
I think so.
Again, if Sam Bowie doesn't get taken by Portland, the Bulls are, they're nothing. They're Milwaukee, maybe, without a championship in Kareem's days. So, I know that they're a benchmark franchise now. There's one.
But that's only because of Michael Jordan.
One dude did all that.
It's because of Michael Jordan.
Yes.
It's because of Jordan.
And now we're seeing what they are without him.
And it's, they had some okay teams. They weren't going to win any championships. Rose wasn't going to win a title. They needed a couple more pieces. Then when he got hurt, it was done.
Done.
And there was another Bulls team that was okay. Zach LaVine's really good, but he's been wasted on that team.
Jimmy Butler was,
Jimmy Butler. I forgot about Butler. They had a nice little whip for a second.
Yeah.
They weren't going to win a title, but they had some pieces you could build around.
Butler's like a superstar now.
So, Butler's a superstar on other teams, and Zach LaVine is still not the player he should be. He's way better than,
because his talent is crazy.
Way up there. He's way better. He's not known. This kid, he's tall, he's handsome, he's young. The guy should be on commercials everywhere.
I think they draft,
but he's not known.
They don't develop guys very well there. They have a lot of guys who underachieve there. Yeah. The Knicks and the Bulls suck. The Knicks and the Bulls suck.
It's kind of sad. And even though the Bulls are not good like they used to be, and if they were, we would still be comparing them to Michael Jordan. The Knicks hurt me more because as a basketball fan, I want them to be good because I want to see these classic teams. I want to see the Knicks and the Sixers.
And every superstar who goes through New York always talks about how great it is, and they all score 50 freaking points on the Knicks because they want to do great in Madison Square Garden because it's the Mecca. But the only people who are like really treating it like that are the visiting teams coming in and kicking the shit out of the Knicks.
And one other thing I'll say is the press in New York, the sports press, they are relentless.
Yeah, but
and when you're that bad, you're getting just roasted every day, nonstop for the whole season. It's sad.
Do you think it's kind of like the national press with the president where it's like, yeah, we're going to rip you, but Jesus, we're tired of ripping you.
Yes.
It's like it's not doing anything.
What else can we say at this point? It just becomes background noise.
Yes, there's so much of it. Interesting. Maybe it's a philosophy.
Like every headline could be Trump sucks, and then move on to the next story.
Exactly, and then a byline in which way.
Yes. In other news.
Well, in other news, before we finish up, is anything you want to plug? Anything you're doing, trying to get people to buy?
Actually, no. I haven't been able to do a damn thing, Joe.
I get it.
And I'm emotionally frayed. I got George Floyd's funeral service on in the background.
Yeah.
I was in a Black Lives Matter protest. Thousands of people. Some National Guardsmen were kind of cool. So that was cool. Some Latino guys from
that's what we need. The good guys need to point themselves out and be
they were good guys. And my son graduates high school tomorrow. So tomorrow. So we got to go out and buy some shoes and
holy shit! Congratulations.
Well, thank you. And me, I thought it was another week. So I had all this stuff here. I'm supposed to be doing some writing with Ed Furman.
Hey,
And
please tell Ed I said hi.
I will. I certainly will.
Yeah.
But I can't get to it. I got stuff all over my desk. I just can't get to it.
Yeah, it's hard to do anything.
Oh, my head's exploding. My name's been put up. Never mind. I don't even want to go
there. Yeah, we do. Yep.
But
I know you got shit going on.
All this shit. I can't sleep. My head. I've had to stop drinking coffee. My heart was racing.
Wow.
Yes. So I didn't have any coffee this morning.
You didn't need coffee? Your heart's up?
No. Heart just racing.
Damn.
It's just a lot of stressful things. So I'm trying to let all that go. I'm really not doing anything right now. And I'm going to focus on my son and his graduation and having a good time with him. And just, if you watch Rick and Morty, sometimes you gotta just say, what the fuck, and just relax.
Even if you don't watch it, you gotta.
Even if you don't watch Rick and Morty.
Well, Dave, thank you. I hope I provided some lightness to your day. Congratulations again. It's hard. It's hard bringing a kid up to high school graduation. That's amazing. I got one next year, but Jesus, whoo.
And you made me laugh. You made me smile. I'm glad we did this today. It was awesome, Joe.
Well, if you have anything you want to yell about for sports, just let me know and we'll do it again. All right, man.
Let's get back together after this NBA thing starts and
get into it.
Do a post-mortem on the first round or something.
We will. Excellent.
All right,
later,
buddy.
man.